Hi folks, this is Carl. This is my final Internet of Things project for CNIT-361. It's what I call a network traffic light. Call it that because like a traffic light, it changes three colors. It could be red, yellow, or green. And that's based off of the network performance of its last test and the calculated percentage of where that test scored. So it's doing a speed test wirelessly. It uses a program called iPerf to do the actual testing. That's an open source program. The client runs on the Raspberry Pi, and the server is actually over on another machine, which is Debian Linux across the internet, which is a server that I have access to. So normally this would be an automated testing configuration. So once it's set up, it doesn't have to do anything. It just runs by itself. For this presentation, though, I'm going to trigger it so that it's a little quicker. So there's two scripts that run everything. This first one is this speed test sh script. Basically, this is real simple. The IP address is that Linux machine I just showed you. It runs a test to that, and then it saves the output into a file called speedtest.log. This command line character here makes it append the file. So if this file is not there, it will create it. If it is there, it adds it to the end of the file. This script here is what drives the LCD. So it reads the log file that was generated, and then it converts the bandwidth result into a percentage, and then based off the percentage, it'll highlight the LCD, make it a color. So that's what's driving that. So if we actually run a test here. First thing we see is connect failed, refused. That's expected because we're not actually running the server. So over here, we're going to launch the server process. So that's iPerf again with the -s option. Now it says it's listening on port 5001 TCP. Now if we do this again, we don't get an error right away. And over here, we see that it's doing a test. So it's currently running a test. We got a 5 megabit score. So we go back to our LCD, and hey, it's red still. Why is it red? Well, because we didn't run the second script yet. So we're going to actually do that. So we're going to run Python speedtest.py, which is this one here. It prints out 1.0. That's because we're configured for, we have a variable set to 5 up there, and our score was 5 something. So that's good. So now our LCD actually turned green. You can see that that's a good test. And keep in mind that this would be happening in the background, kind of continuously. I've been, for testing purposes, I've been running it every 2 minutes. But, you know, if you were actually setting this up and you wanted to let it run kind of indefinitely, I'd probably run it around like a 10-minute or maybe even 30-minute interval, something like that. So it's green because that. Now we can play with this calibration here and make it a little higher, and that'll let us hopefully get a little bit different color here. So let's try 7. All right, 7. And if I go back here and try executing that script again, now we're at 71. 71 is within the threshold for the yellow. So I don't know if that comes across good on the recording, but that's actually yellow color. And finally, if we make that even further here, we change this to let's say we'll make that a 9 and save it. And I execute that script again. Okay, now we're at 55%. And we're bright red. So that's how the internet tester works. Hope you guys thought it was cool. Thanks. Bye.